Last time we discussed how simple divine truths will always remain complicated for us because our ways of understanding are complicated. It's our natural way of thinking, of understanding, and also our natural way of doing things, which is complicated, while God is eternally simple, indivisible, unique, singular. So the next thing we can ask, why did God create us like that? Because, of course, before God created us, well, there were other human beings. Before there were human beings, there was a universe. Even, well, people believing in evolution and people believing in creation, they will agree about one thing. Before mankind, there was a universe without mankind. So when we believe in creation, we say that there has been a beginning of the universe, and that means that before that you couldn't even speak of before that because there was nothing that was that. So all ideas of creation, starting from the first moments of creation, must emerge from a God thinking about himself, seeing himself, which means from complete eternal simplicity. Now, why are we complicated then? How did this God who had himself and in himself, in seeing himself, chose to create the world, the universe, and us? Why are we complicated? Well, in fact, the question is very truthful, very much justified, but the revelation gives us actually the answer. We are to be similar to God. Similar, not like looking a bit alike, but created as image of God, we are called to become equal to him, of equal form, of equal shape. We are called to become a likeness to God. In the beginning of creation, God says in the book of Genesis, and God said to himself, which means it's in his thinking, in his idea, in his plan, in his intention, he says, I'm going to create man as the image and likeness of myself. And then it's written in Genesis, and he created man and woman, image of himself. Where is the likeness gone? From this beginning, from the first moment of mankind, or if you want to say it politically correct, humankind, which actually I'm not, so we will just continue to call it mankind. From the beginning of mankind, we will see two aspects. We are an image of God, and God's intention is that we become a likeness of God. And it's good to distinguish between the two, because being an image of God, it's because of God's act of creation. But that doesn't completely complete his intention. The complete intention of God is not just that we are created, but that we are his likeness. Because of sin, this image of God must be restored, it must be redeemed, and then God can complete the likeness to him in us. Now, the act of creation is in the beginning. The act of redemption is in the fullness of times. But time still goes on. So the likeness of God, actually, which is in the intention of God, it is realized bit by bit through history. And in the end, as John says in his first letter, we shall be like him, we shall be a likeness to him, because we shall see him as he is. So it's only progressively that man that to man it is revealed what this intention of God means, this incomplete part of God's intention. He cannot realize it without us. There is the image, there is the likeness. The image of God, only God can create it. And only God can redeem it. That's what God as singular and unique, transcendent God can realize. But the likeness, it is in God's intention, but its realization cannot be completed without us. Only God can redeem us, only God could create us. But only we, in our answer to God, in cooperating with God, can complete that likeness. So that is finally, ultimately, why we are the way we are, in which means rather complex beings. This complexity is actually the basis for becoming the likeness of God. And when we don't understand the divine revelation and tell ourselves it's all too simple for us, we are complicated, you should also strengthen your hope, because our state of being complicated and complex and difficult to understand, it's actually the basis, the foundation of step by step, with us cooperating, becoming likeness of God. And in the end, that's what John says, what in the end is the reason why we will be really, finally, ultimately, completely a likeness of God, it's because we shall see him as he is. We will see the light where God from eternity had the intention to create us, and when we sinned, to redeem us. And when we were repentant and were converted, how, and this was all in God's light from eternity, how we as faithful have glorified our Lord.